Good morning. Our main idea for the new Tirana City Hall is to understand the new public building as a public space and fundamentally as a garden. The garden is a pergola that stretches all over the site. Pergola is 6 meters high and covers 15,000 square meter space. So it's a huge, even forest of vegetation that includes both the different components of the city hall, the council, the auditorium, and the office tower, and that defines a homogeneous public realm that is populated by the flowers, the colors, the fruit, and produce ever-changing metropolitan landscape that mutates through the year. In this manner, plants assume a symbolic and civic role.
The public space of the project is defined by an expansive planted pergola that meets the edges of the plaza. Nestled within this expansive roof are the major building blocks of the City Hall, each of which are visible and accessible and contribute to an open democratic realm. For example, the council chamber is a small transparent box close to the boulevard. The auditorium is a large rectangular prism with a public rooftop above the pergola. And the offices are a cubic glass tower that soars above the plaza. These buildings that float within the shaded pergola are animated according to the time of day and changing qualities of light and shadow. The transparency of the council chamber reveals the debates of the Tirana city representatives to the general public, so that within the project, democracy is not just represented, but it's seen in action.
Why call back the legions when the garrison of Rome has nothing to do but to defend us from sausage makers?
In our proposal, the vegetation strategy is divided into three main sections. The first one, it's about the pergola itself. The second one, it's about a citrus garden. And the third one is a public trees nursery.
The pergola includes 16 different species of climbing plants, both deciduous and evergreens. The species placed in the 6,000 square meter permeable area are planted directly in the ground and grow on trellis. Instead, the plants that are located in the paved areas above the underground parking grow in vases. The pergola is organized according to stripes, including similar species and similar color and blossoming period. The citrus garden hosts citrus and also other fruit trees. They are scattered across the ground according to the grid defined by the pergola. These trees generally surround them punctual and small gathering spaces that allow more intimate and immersive experiences of the garden. The public tree nursery occupies a 1,550 square meter area encircled by a metallic fence. The tree nursery operates like an open-air depository for trees to be distributed and planted in the public parks of the city. The everyday logistic of city making coincides with the representation of collective will. In this way, the City Hall garden exposes the shared project of building the city.
The new City Hall garden is precisely inserted into the urban structure defined by the Brazini master plan. Inside of this very classical piece of urban design, the building appears as something much more free, much more human, something that is capable of being precisely inserted and at the same time is capable of exposing contemporary values and composing the complexity of contemporary democratic institutions. As such, the building also provides a sort of complementary element that is very clearly related to the new Skanderbeg Square. Somehow the abstract purity of the low pyramid of Skanderbeg corresponds to the protective shadow of the new Metropolitan Pergola.
The Metropolitan Pergola is a vast structure of green leaves dotted with flowers and fruits and punctuated by sunlight. Covering more than 10,000 square meters, the pergola provides a cool and temperate environment during the day, particularly during the very hot summers of Tirana. This structure will significantly reduce the perceived temperature and contribute to mitigate the urban heat island effect for the neighboring areas. The perceivable difference in climate turns the space under the pergola into a very attractive place to be, a magical place, an oasis suspended and different from the rest of the city. And this special temperate effect is exploited throughout the design of the City Hall. When the City Hall complex is seen from the outside, the office tower clearly emerges as a defined and monumental urban figure within the city. On the contrary, all building volumes under the pergola are permeable and transparent. Citizens of Tirana can look down into the council chamber, they could walk between the colorful forest of columns, they could enter the bar in the auditorium, or walk up into the vegetation and discover the public deck above.
The new Tirana City Hall is subdivided very simply into 3 boxes, each dedicated to a specific function. The clarity of these schemes allows to adapt the most sustainable solution for each of the different functions. As such, the building is the real, effective, sustainable machine. The offices are into a cube with a side of 48 meters that is made of a circulation core at the middle and of a double-layer facade all around. These schemes allows maximum flexibility. Most importantly, the compact volume has an extreme thermal inertia, and so it helps reducing energy cost in winter and summer, and so reduces not only construction but also maintenance cost. The Auditorium, again, is another box with extremely simple geometry that assures best acoustic performance. And finally, the assembly hall, the council, is another simple, intimate, transparent platform for democratic discussion that emerge into the landscape of the pergola. All of these 3 different main functions are connected underground, and below, at the level -2 and -3, there are parking and spaces for logistics.
The building is actually supported by 34 massive columns, which are 9 meters high and 3 meters wide, which offer an ornamental and ceremonial entrance to the lobby. Their decorations is loosely inspired to the Girocastres National Folkloric Festival. Each column is considered as an individual, as a human being, dressing colorful and vivid clothes typical of the folkloric festival.
Main ambitions for the structure of the new Tirana City Hall are reduced carbon footprint, simple straightforward seismic design, maximum flexibility in use, and the maximum use of standardized solutions for rapidity and ease of construction. Therefore, City Hall, Auditorium and Council Chamber and the underground parking levels use, first, a standardized span of 7.5 meters for columns, beams and slabs. Second, the use of natural limestone for the vertical load-bearing columns in the council hall as a durable, reduced carbon footprint material and allowing for the use of local craftsmanship. Third, reduction of structural dimensions with decreasing weight over the height of the building as a means to reduce material and carbon footprint. Fourth, continuous vertical reinforced concrete walls for vertical circulation and shafts. Together with the RC slabs, they ensure full bracing of the buildings. On a city scale, the pergola offers already for most of the year a green line and welcome shadow against the sun, in essence reducing demand for extra cooling. On a building scale, the City Hall functions as an ecological device entirely. Existing buildings around the Mediterranean often show an adaptability to modern requirements of heating and ventilation through the installation of off-the-shelf AC units, Venetian blinds and other devices. The City Hall taps into this logic by proposing all these directly integrated into a multi-purpose, so-called corridor-type double-skin facade. The double-skin allows for an extra barrier for sound insulation, an increased depth for solar shading devices, natural cooling in summer through increased air displacement, natural heating in the winter through preheating by the sun of the buffer zone, a place to install freely necessary solar panel capacity, AC units and plants. In essence, The building and its skin offer multi-purpose and adaptable enclosure, not only minimizing consumption but even produce energy.
The works for the construction of the new municipality building are expected to last between 24 to 13 months. According to our calculation, the overall cost for the construction is expected to be around 44 million euros, which includes also a 10% contingency fund. In calculating these costs, we have been loosely based on the average construction cost in Albania, as well as the official construction manual approved by the Ministry of Infrastructure. The new municipality building features several new technologies, such as photovoltaic panels, which constitute 36% of the double-scheme facade. These photovoltaic panels will help reduce the carbon footprint of the municipality's facade, as well as lower the yearly maintenance costs.